Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Elliot Webber and welcome to episode 3 of BTCC What If, the series on my channel where we look at certain things that might have happened in BTCC and we see what would happen if it played out differently. Again, I really need to think of an actual permanent intro for this, but anyway, episode 3, we are looking at what if Gordon Shedden never left the BTCC in 2017. So, as always, let's get straight into this. So, for those of you who don't know, Gordon Shedden is a 3-time BTCC champion with 52 career wins, winning his 3 titles in 2012, 2015 and 2016. Some of you, if you've been watching recently, will know he returned to the BTCC in 2021 and had his final year in 2022. He has not been seen on the grid since. I highly doubt we will see Gordon Shedden come back, unfortunately, especially for me, because Gordon Shedden is my all-time favourite driver. But for those of you who don't know, Gordon Shedden took sort of a sabbatical from BTCC. He left what was the factory Honda team, Team Dynamics, at the end of 2017, where he would move on to racing in the World Touring Car Championship, or the or WTCR, as it was known as back then, now known as the TCR World Tour. They have their final round coming up next week at Macau. Rob Huff will be racing there, just for anyone who wants to know. So Gordon Shedden left in 2017, at the end of 2017, moved on to the Audi factory team at the time in WTCR. He unfortunately would not be that successful, only mustering up 1 win and a handful of podiums. So unfortunately wasn't the world touring car career that Gordon Shedden wanted, which is why he came back in 2021. But still, we're going to see what would happen if Gordon Shedden stayed on at Team Dynamics, stayed on in BTCC for 2018, 2019 and 2020. Starting off with 2018, the brand new FK8 Honda Civic Type R would debut. As we know in real life, Dan Camish and Matt Neal will both take race wins in this new car, but unfortunately would not be anywhere near the championship going into the final round. As for Gordon, how well do I think he would have done? Given how 2018, as I've spoken about twice on this channel already in the past couple of weeks, 2018 was a crazy season. We had 17 different winners, about 5 drivers took their maiden win. Colin Turkington took the championship with just 1 win that season. It was an unbelievable season, one of my personal favourite seasons to watch as a spectator, as a neutral, which is what I am now, 100%. As for Gordon Shedden in this FK8 Civic 2018, I think he would definitely take some race wins, no doubt about that. I think 1000% Gordon would have won some races in 2018. Do I think he would be in the championship fight? I don't know. I think mathematically he would have been, but I don't think he would be a realistic contender for the championship. I think, being realistic and a little bit biased, I think Gordon would finish anywhere between 3rd and 6th in the championship in 2018. I think he'd take about 3 to 5 wins, 5 at a max, 2 minimum. I'd say 2 minimum. In real life, in that 2018 season, Dan Camish took 2 wins, but Dan Camish was a rookie, whereas Gordon Shedden would have been in his, I believe, 12th season in BTCC. So yeah, obviously big difference in experience, which is why I do think Gordon would be a little bit better than Camish in this scenario compared to real life, which is why, yeah, I'm predicting him to finish roughly 5th in the championship. I'd say 5th, maybe 4th. Now let's move on to the 2019 season. So now the 2019 season, now in real life, this would be the year where BMW would virtually dominate the championship. I wouldn't say, they didn't dominate the whole thing, no doubt. They didn't win every single race, of course. But for the majority of the season, the BMWs, which debuted a BMW 330i into the championship in 2019, being driven by Colin Turkington, Andrew Jordan and Tom Oliphant at the time. It would be, of course, a multiple race winner. Both AJ and Colin Turkington would be in the mathematical fight for the championship. But also, as we know, 2019 was the season where Dan Camish in real life clawed back a 70-point deficit in the final 15 races of the season to take the championship to the second to last lap before that god-awful brake failure, which cost Dan Camish the championship. A lap and a half is all he needed. And it's been 5 years and I am still crying about it to this day. And I will continue to cry about it for the next half decade or something. I don't know, but yeah. Now, as for Gordon Shedden in this scenario, do I think he does what Dan Camish did? I'm going to be honest, no, I don't think so. I think, you know, yes, Gordon is my all-time favourite. Yes, I'm going to be incredibly biased in this video, but I don't see a way that Gordon Shedden, at the age he was, you know, he was no, you know, he wasn't old per se, you know, he definitely wasn't an old man back then, but he definitely wasn't a spring chicken. As I mentioned earlier on, 2019 would have been his 13th season in BTCC, roughly 12th or 13th. So, you know, I don't think Gordon would claw back that much of a gap, but I definitely think that he would claw back some of that. And I do think, you know, had everything gone Gordon's way in this scenario, I definitely think that he would have been mathematically in the championship. Now, does this brake failure happen in this scenario? I'm going to say no, but I still don't think it would be enough. I think at best Gordon Shedden would finish third in the championship in this scenario, should I say, for 2019. Maximum amount of wins he would take, I'm saying 4 at best. But I do think his consistency in a second year in the FK8 is what would have given him third in the championship. I don't think he would have beaten Turkington or AJ in the championship standings. Of course, as I mentioned, the BMW was probably the fastest car that year, but as well, Turkington and Jordan were at their best that year. So yeah, for 2019, for year 2 in this scenario, I think third place at best for Gordon is what likely would have happened. Now let's move on to the final year in this scenario, 2020. So 2020, the final year, year 3 of this what if scenario for Gordon Shedden had he stayed in BTCC. Another difficult one, because this is obviously, the BMWs were still great. Ash Sutton had rose to prominence again in his Laser Tools Infinity. Tom Ingram was once again slowly working his way up the field. Jake Hill was becoming a serious contender. Josh Cook was still slowly becoming a serious contender. 2020 was, in my opinion, a fairly decent year. Not as chaotic or mind-blowing as the finale of 2019. But still was a solid season. In real life, Ash Sutton will take his second of what is now 4 championship titles with Laser Tools Racing. Colin Turkington will be second in real life, and Dan Camish in real life in this scenario. In real life, Dan Camish would once again be third in 2020. Realistically, do I think Shedden finishes third in 2020? Honestly, no. I think he'd still be quite up there. I still think he'd be winning races in 2020, but I don't think he would be anywhere near Sutton or Turkington that year. I actually think he'd probably finish 4th again at best. I just think that maybe age would slowly catch up to Shedden in this scenario. I mean, I hope not. If realistically in these scenarios, I'd pick Shedden to win the championship every single year, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it realistic. Not going to be that biased. But yeah, I think P4 at best for Shedden. I think he'd probably lose out to third to either Josh Cook or Tom Ingram, because Cookie and Ingram were also very good that year in 2020. So yeah, P4 at best, maximum of 5 wins is what I can say, but I just don't think Shedden would have been able to catch up to the consistency and raw pace of Sutton or Turkington that year. And so yeah, that's 2020, and then obviously after this it will move on basically to real life, because obviously Shedden came back to BTCC in 2021 with Team Dynamics. So yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. That is what if Gordon Shedden stayed in the BTCC, or technically never left the BTCC. You can word it any way you want. I'll have to think of a title for this. The title will be what it is as you've read it, obviously. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Of course, if you're new around here, be sure to like this video, share with your mates as well, because it of course does help my channel grow. And of course, press that subscribe button, because we are firmly on the road to 300 subscribers. We are roughly at about 297 at time of recording. So we are inching closer. I'd very much love 300 subs by the end of this year. So by December 31st or January 1st, 2025, I would very much like 300 subscribers. So please share with your mates and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see all of you in the next one. Goodbye.